Hello, this is a slightly longer version of the talk that I was to be delivering at the IIRSM, but unfortunately, ill health of myself and my stand in has prevented us to deliver this in person. So, sincere apologies for that. Unfortunately, this couldn't have been avoided. So, who am I? Professor of Crowd Science at Manchester Metropolitan University. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Mathematics and its Applications, a fellow of the Institute of Civil Protection and Emergency Management, a specialist fellow of the International Institute of Risk and Safety Management, member of the Expert Witness Institute, a fellow of the Institute of Place Management, and a fellow of the Higher Education Academy. For the last 30 years, my work is focused on the mathematics and psychology of crowd dynamics. Not so much as interpreting psychology, but more about shaping behaviour. What do we need to do to entice crowds to behave in the manner which is safer for them and for the environment? Now, a lot of the psychologists that deal with this particular field do some fantastic work on analysing behaviour, but nearly all of our work is focused on shaping behaviour. So there's a flip side to it. So I really admire all the work of my colleagues in this particular field, John Jury, Clifford Stott, Steve Reicher, Chris Cocking. They've done some fantastic work in that field, which has really set the bedrock for the work that complements what we do, which is very much in trying to make environments safer through planning and design. So for the last 30 years, this really has been the focus of my entire life. The largest events that I've worked on have been 10 years I was special advisor to the Saudi government, various ministries out there for Hajj projects. So that's 3 million people per day, and I was responsible for simulating and modelling the Jumeirah Bridge. I did some work in Mecca, some in Mina Valley. So really it was looking at superstructures in that context. But the tools that we develop and use have application from huge events, Royal Wedding, Olympics, etc. These are some of the events that we've worked on. There is a complete list on my website if you're interested. The smallest event, the 500 people that come to my local fireworks display. The difference is, of course, they know where I live. For 15 years, I was working at the Cabinet Office Emergency Planning College as first as visiting associate and then visiting lecturer. But I developed a lot of their primary crowd modelling tools, and you may see the string experiment in its various forms, looking at density and flow. I developed all of that for during my PhD research and during my early days of lecturing there. 2018, our team has worked in over 22 countries, all the way across Britain, of course. Germany, Netherlands, Italy, Northern Ireland, Belgium, USA, Canada, Chile, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand. Quite an extensive list on that. The one advantage that we have over other types of teaching organisation is that I'm involved in a lot of expert witness cases, now close to 30, I believe. Washington, I did testimony on the evacuation of the Senate buildings, the Capitol buildings, back in the Cessna incident 2014. I've done personal injury cases in USA, UK, and Australia. The Falls Festival was one, and Las Vegas MGM Grand. So a significant amount of work on the expert witness side, which has given us a deep insight. We can't talk about the specifics of any case, obviously, but we can take the key learning points and what went wrong, why did it go wrong, and then integrate those into our teaching program. So in essence, all of the work that we're doing is focused on looking at common causes of accidents and incidents, and taking those key lessons and looking at how to prevent them for the future. So vital learning elements here. One thing we often hear is people saying, oh, you can't substitute for experience. Well, experience only teaches you to recognize a mistake when you make it again. It's a wise man that learns from those mistakes, but it's a wiser man that can learn from the mistakes of others. So by looking at how other sites have failed, looking at how the legislation has been utilised, the guidance has been utilised to for the prosecutions, we can filter that back into the industry and say this is what we need to do to keep it safe for the future. So the expert witness work has been a phenomenally deep insight into both the legal process and how to produce better modelling tools, better safety environments, and hence the work that we do is all about crowd safety and crowd risk analysis and that focus. A lot of work on citywide planning, obviously a lot of work in Mecca, Liverpool, Austin South by Southwest, Lincoln Christmas Market, the Royal Wedding, and most recently planning for Ottawa. In fact, the Ottawa Tourism Board came across to have a meeting with us about what we can do for assisting and improving things there for the future. So crowd dynamics and crowd behaviour, really those are the two focus. Crowd dynamics involves the movement of people, and that was my PhD topic about modelling and simulating movement of people, integrating a lot of the work from Jonathan Symes' parameters on social mobilities. It's a fascinating body of work that Jonathan and Ghislaine Proulx produced, and it's definitely worth a further study on it. But all of our work here in crowd dynamics and crowd behaviour is focusing on anticipating problems, preparing safety plans, and preventing accidents and incidents. And all of that needs to be filtered into your crowd management plan. So these are planning tools. Some of the tools that we develop obviously help us recognize incidents or red flag things that start to go wrong. And you'll see as we move through this talk, a lot of our control room tools have been designed around that particular focus. Now, I run an Introduction to Crowd Safety and Risk Analysis course, which is a bridging course from industry to academia. What that means is that we can, in a short course format, there's about 200 hours of guided learning, both face-to-face in the classroom and through the online learning system. So a lot of background reading, a couple of essays to write to demonstrate. So if you've got industry experience and want to move on to higher education, the bridging course, the Introduction to Crowd Safety and Risk Analysis course, is one method of doing that. Because there are academic routes, there are other routes through to it, but this has been specifically designed. It's registered with the International Institute of Risk and Safety Management, accredited via them, and also supported, endorsed, and credited with the University Master's Programme. Now, having developed a complete Master's Programme in this particular field, I was able to go back and integrate all of the key learning points as a series of stepping stones. So we have some short courses online, Introduction to Crowd Safety Risk Analysis, Writing Crowd Management Plans, Crowd Risk Analysis, Behavioural-Based Safety. And all of that can lead you to the short course can lead you to the Master's Programme. And my publisher said I should never miss an opportunity to plug the book, which is available from Amazon.com and from the publishers themselves. Now let's have a look at some incidents with crowds, and then we'll discuss some of the common features of causality.